down. That was a powerful word. When death comes, he works with the grave to limit you and then destroy you. See, it's not just good enough to destroy you. Before you're destroyed, Satan wants to limit you. He wants to make it look like everything you tried to do didn't work. So that when you're destroyed, people will say, she deserved it. He deserved it. But each of us have to meet these enemies. I promise you, I have tried my best to pray this away. It ain't going nowhere. Some things you have to win to qualify for your next round. Now, let me explain to you breaking the code here, breaking the church talk code. And I don't mean to disrespect the church talk. We need the tradition, we need the word, we have our own verbiage. But sometimes when you're trying to reach people, you got to talk to them so that they can understand, that you understand, that the Lord wants them to understand. On one hand, Jesus submitted to death. That's on one hand. And we'll start taking notes here in a second, and you'll understand what I mean. He submitted to death. On one hand, he said, okay. He said, I'll have to die. And the Bible says in Philippians that he humbled himself and became obedient to death. You see, because Jesus couldn't just die. If he had just died, Satan would have won. Listen, if he would have just died, he would have had to have been obedient to Satan. And he couldn't obey Satan because he's more powerful than Satan. So what he had to do was put himself in the position, or put himself under the code, say code, under the code that Satan recognized. Satan called it death. Jesus called it preparation. So in order to get ready for the next step, Jesus says, I've got to go through this step first. So the first thing he did was submit. And because dying on the cross was a painful, slow ordeal, and sometimes it lasted as long as 9 days. Please don't think that they would just hang you on the cross and you would die. Dying on the cross was very humiliating. First of all, the pictures that we see of Jesus has him with a little cloth on, they would strip you and put you barely into anything. Jesus, they had him naked. Didn't want to just kill him. Before we die, let's just publicly humiliate him. Let's make it look so bad that anybody else who would ever want to be a Christian would say, I'm not going through that. I am not going through that. Roman soldiers, when they would nail you to a cross, would often break the criminal's legs. And so without the ability to support their weight, the strain of the person with the arms stretched out, it would apply pressure to the person's lungs and they would suffocate. That's what dying on the cross would do. We know Jesus submitted to death because the Bible tells us that no bones in his body were broken. So he had to use the devil's trick to get to his next step. You're going to have to use whatever Satan's doing to you to get to your next step. But you've got to understand there is a next step. Repeat after me. This is not the end. Jesus willingly gave himself to die. The enemy did not take his life. That was number one, that he submitted to death. If you're taking notes, I want you to get that. He submitted to death. Satan didn't kill him. He chose to do it that way. You got that? Because that's really important. Because you go to church and say, what do you preach about? Oh, you know, Jesus on the cross. No, not here. No, not today. He submitted to death. Secondly, he refused to submit to the grave. That's number two. Now he says, I'll die. Because the death part is kind of necessary. But remember, Satan had a contract with the grave too. Let me break it to 2014. Golden Gate, y'all embalm him. Lincoln Memorial, Laurel Land, y'all keep him. Jesus said, okay, I'll do the Golden Gate so they can have some viewing. But I ain't gonna stay at Laurel Land. They will not use this place as the last time they saw me. They will not come here every year and celebrate me. Once he was dead, he was placed in the tomb. We understand the story. He was placed there, and it was sealed tight to guarantee that no one would be able to get in and out, because Jesus told them, I'm going to get up from this grave. Okay, we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. Big giant tube of super glue, Jesus style, devil style, or whatever that was. The soldiers around it surrounded the tomb every day, all day, 24 hours, so that no one could come and get him out of it. The religious leaders and ultimately Satan, they went through amazing lengths to keep Jesus locked up in that tomb. Now my question always is, on every occasion, if they didn't think that he was as powerful as he said he was, why did they go through all that trouble to make sure he didn't get out? Tradition says, conventional wisdom says that this is the end of the chapter of Jesus' life. Touch somebody and say, but we know better. We are in here this morning because somebody in here, you have been written off, and you know you have. I'm trying not to preach right now. I'm just trying to talk like I got some good sense. But you're in here right now because you know, even if you had to come in and sneak and sit in the back, hold your head down the whole time I'm talking, try your best to act like you're not looking at the preacher, you're in here because you know you've been through junk like this before. But this time somebody got a message out to you that said, listen, this is a setup. Don't blow your cover because of what looks like death. It's death, but it's not the end. You deserve to be resurrected. Can anybody give God praise on that? Repeat after me. Say, I deserve to be resurrected. So if I'm going to get up, somebody's got to release me. I need an angel to shake up some stuff. If you're tweeting somebody, tell them this. At Rickie G. Rush. I don't know how you do that. I don't know what I just said, but it sounded kind of social. The greater the power within you, the greater the weapons the devil's going to use against you. I am learning that the stronger I am now in God, the tougher it is to show that I'm strong in God. Satan comes with some stuff now that I just didn't see coming. And if you're not taking notes, read your neighbor's notes and see what they're doing. So, the greater the power within you, the greater the artillery of the devil against you. The greater and the more powerful you are in the Lord, the stronger the enemy has. You cannot kill an elephant with a BB gun. Some of you used to be gnats, you used to be flies, you used to be bugs. I don't mean this in a negative way. You're an elephant now. And you're getting frustrated because everywhere you look, somebody's got a bazooka, somebody's got a bomb. Lord, why are they coming at me from every angle? Because you are not who you used to be, and it does not take the same thing to hurt you like it used to hurt you. Something big's got to come after you now. And when you get past this, something bigger will come, but greater power will be given unto you. You got notes and bills at your house that you pay now because you live in a better place and you have greater things. Now, I don't know how much sense this makes. You can look at me and tell, but I don't know how much sense this makes. The longer your hair is, the more you pay to get it fixed, I think. I do know the more tracks you get. I do know that. I was invited to a special thing this week when they were having a special something, and I don't even know what I was, but these stylists from all over New York were here, and they were giving free things, and they asked me to come and bless the hair. And I blessed it, and I want to share. And they gave $1,000 to the church because I ain't blessing hair. You know, I don't know what this is. So I'm sitting there, and I'm watching one lady right here, the other woman way down there. Both of them on one piece. They had the hair. And it went from here to some circles. Brothers, y'all just trust me. I really am not doing this good. And when they got through, there were no more circles, but the woman had long, beautiful hair. And there were rows and rows and rows of chairs at Jenny's, and they were fixing hair. And the shorter the hair, the shorter the visit. The longer the hair, the longer the visit. Let me give you a hint. I don't even need to go to the barber shop anymore. Yeah, I just wisp and brush, and I'm done. But sometimes, see, it takes you longer because of how much you've grown. Satan spends more time with some of you because he knows it takes more to bring you down than it used to. Would you shake somebody for me? I can't get out there and shake all of you. When somebody's about to give up, tell them, don't give up, just wake up. It seems like a nightmare, but it's just a partial dream. There's a direct relationship between your potential and the grace that God has given you. There's a relationship between the potential you have and the attack that's against you. This is your potential. So now this is your attack. If this is your potential right here, your attack is it's not that. Why? Why waste a tank on a bug? Now, I'm talking to some real people. Somebody's listening today. And I'm telling you, sometimes I just drop my head. And I think, no, how crazy is this? And God says, how far do you want to go? We're talking in Monday school, and you don't want to miss it tomorrow night. We're talking about lateral thinking and how some of us, we can't go any further than the thoughts we think because we can't get any further than the people that we call associates. Sometimes people don't understand that as you go to different levels, you're going to meet different types of things that are going to make you feel like you don't belong at that level. You got to have to change the way you think about your own success. But first of all, you got to understand that success for you is supposed to be normal. It is not supposed to be a new thing. See, you are successful to strangers. You're on target to believers. That was let's write that down. See, I'm only successful to people who didn't expect me to be. But when God expects me to be, I'm right on target. And everything that comes along with that is something that God is getting me prepared for. The enemy doesn't need to bother using a high-powered machine on a baby Christian. All it takes is to give you a bad mood. Baby Christians, let me see. What can he do if you're an immature or a baby Christian? He'll give you a bad mood, a bad attitude, somebody not smiling at you, or get you to stumble over something. That's all he's going to use on you, and he'll use those for the next 10 years of your life. Because anytime something is good, and anytime God's getting ready to do something, somebody gets in a bad mood, you get a bad attitude, you stop smiling, and then you stumble over something. And so that's just basically what goes on with you. What's wrong with her? Oh, she's in a bad mood. What's wrong with him? Oh, he's having a bad attitude. Or what's going on with him? Oh, you know, they're not smiling over there. And that's all he uses. That's all he uses. That's all he needs to use. Is this blessing anybody? So we could all say, well, you know, what's going on? Well, Satan's just using his just little stuff, just itching. It ain't enough to knock you down, just keep you uncomfortable. But when a Christian is seasoned, code, that's a code word. Let me say this. When you've been a Christian and you've achieved anything, and you're starting to grow up in the Lord, and you get hit fire right in the mouth, and you bounce back in church smiling with those same teeth that got knocked out. No, when both of your arms have been broken and you just waving your hands a little bit. No. Your hair's been pulled out all week, but you still shaking your head Sunday. Honey, you fall into a whole different category now. Satan says, I know I stomped you, but you walking with your back straight instead of bent over. I'm breaking some codes now. I'm breaking some codes. See, I can call some of you seasoned, and you think I just meant been in church a long time. I'm not talking been in church a long time. I'm talking about being through some stuff that no one can tell you've been through, and you still want to succumb to it. You might want a lot of followers.